Oshani, you have joined. Good morning, Oshani. Oshani, good morning. Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. So now we have three people, and let's see, we start until others, join in. Basically, what my plan today is like, since we have done 3 or 4 sessions, mainly into microfinancing and SME. So today I have thought of, take you through some past paper questions, so that we can get sort of familiarize what we have learned during the last 4 sessions, right? So Tarindu, yes, very good morning, Tarindu. And let's see that how best that we can discuss some of the past paper questions which I have shared with you, mainly like some 2 or 3 papers I have taken from recent, maybe 2019 and 2018. So let's see that how best that you can get on it with, right? So before that, want to give you some kind of some templates, so that it would be very easy for you to get it, understand, and do kind of follow-up sessions on your what do you call the chapters we discussed, right? First one that I'm going to share is basically, give me a minute, I will. Hope you can see the board, right? If you anything, please let me know. So first model, what I want to share is with you. Let's say the examiner wanted us to write, say, discuss about lending methodologies. So for that, we have lending methodologies. Right. So this is the kind of some kind of graphical chart that you can use, and then you can, when you are like doing a kind of revision, this will be useful. So what are the lending methodologies what we learned? There are a couple of. One could be asset-based lending, asset or collateral-based lending. This is one method that we learn. What could be the other? Is cash flow based lending. And third could be project based lending. Right? Final one could be fee based lending. What I'm trying to do right now here is, using these 4 lessons, I want to give you kind of a bit of revision materials, some kind of answer plans, structure, so that when you are like revising your content, you need to know these several models that I am going to discuss with you. So these basically type of lending methods or lending methodologies, like categories of lending: asset collateral based, cash flow, project based, fee based lending. Then you need to know what are the, first you need to know what definitions, then advantages, disadvantages, and some examples. So when you say definition, what do you mean by the asset based lending? What do you mean by the collateral based lending? That you need to know. Number 2, what are the advantages and what are the disadvantages? And example like cashback, property back OD, pawning, gold loans, like that. So when you know all those things, this is complete. Since that we have learned separately, but we want to, as a revised material, we need to use this model. This is the first model that I am going to discuss with you. So basically, what are the categories of lending, and then once you know those categories of lending, you need to know definition, advantages, disadvantages, and examples. So you can write 4 lines if they ask about what is cash flow based lending, what is asset based lending, right? So then you can get 5 marks, right? So any questions on this model? Malaka, you have joined. Very good morning. Any questions? Hope you understand that because we have done it. Come on. Any questions on this? Done? Okay. So this is for first model, the structure. So you can hope that you can get this, write it down your notebooks. So then I will share maybe a couple of things before attempting the past paper questions. Right? Any questions you can raise it, right? The first one, right? The next question, examiner might ask us on, like say, we may be asked to say define or maybe formulate a kind of say product. He could ask us, let's say, there is a type of customers engaged in kind of particular sector. So now being a credit manager, we are supposed to develop, formulate a product suite to this type of customer. So that could be a kind of a question. So what are your thoughts? How we are going to do that? Can you think about a model? Or rather, what you can think about, let's say they are in agri, they are in farming, and farming, who are the players, like farmers or the maybe paddy, maybe stockist kind of thing, and then they want long-term, short-term loan. So you can do that. But better, you can think about again a simple model so that you can use it for any purpose. So to start with something, let's say this is what initially, this may be the main sector. You are talking about where your customers are there. You're talking about the product, right? So this is the main sector. We say agri example, right? Example, it could be something agri. The main sector. Then there will be another circle like this. You can call this as a subsector or maybe some business activities. Hope this is clear, right? Right. So it could be maybe I must say subsector or business activity. Because why we need to do this is to understand what are the business activities in agri, right? So agri, we talk about say paddy in particular. So in this example, agri and say paddy. Then our question could be easy, right? Right. So like that, what are they do? They may be farming, I might say cultivating, right? Stocking, milling, and maybe value adding, or exporting. So there are maybe several sub activity or subsector in the paddy main sector. So basically now the examiner has given us, say, the particular customers engage in agriculture, paddy sector. So you are supposed to, as a bank manager, develop some products while taking into account what are the the risks that you are going to manage? That could be the like question. So in order to understand that, in order to write an answer, first we try to develop a model so that you can pick some of these things and you can write the answer. Now initially we have designed say agree or PADI one, then we have subset of sub activities, right? So what could be the next cycle? Any thoughts? Now we have main sector and we have subsector. Like this is farming, so we have some customers in farming, customers in stocking, customers in milling, customers in exporting. So that's what basically it's all about customer, right? The customer agree, PADI, doing milling. To that extent, we have developed this. What could be the next? Any thoughts? Dilanja, any thoughts? Harindu, what do you think? What could be the next cycle? Next circle? Do you want to project it, expand it? Any thoughts? What could be the next cycle, next circle that we can have here? We have a customer who engage in PADI or engage in agri sector and engage in say milling. What could be the next thing that we need to have here? Malki, any thoughts? You can suggest, because we have asked to discuss about product development while taking into the risk or mitigating that. What do you think? What could be the next circle? Oshani, any thoughts? Rajindan, any suggestions? What could be the next circle? It could be what? It could be product. It could be type of borrowers, or it could be type of security. Those things, right? Because if we think that we have an the business activity, the next circle could be right type of borrowers, right? TOB or TUC, type of customers we must say, because there may be several customers also, like individuals. Then we have sole proprietors. We have partnerships. We have let's say companies. Let's say private, and we have say companies, public. Right. So the next circle is the type of customers also. Now here that. Next we can say type of credit. Another C or type of we say easy understanding, TOB, TOC, type of credit. There you have again enough number of credit facilities we have learned. That could be term loan, we have leasing, we have OD, we have import, export credits, we have bridge loan, we have what? Insurance. Remember we talk about SME banking some time back under session 2, so that we are talking here. And then STLs, post-dated checks, so factoring. So then we know a type of credit also. Final, or maybe not the final, there will be another one we can think about. That is type of security. Next circle, where you have again number of securities, that's about land, buildings, then you have stocks, debts, maybe cash. What are the securities that we can think about? Personal guarantees, corporate guarantees, shares or whatever, right? So maybe shares. I mean, so many things that you can think about. So this is the second model that I am, keeping with you. So the better you write it down. And let's say now examiner ask about a question to formulate, develop a product. So you can take some inputs using this, because rather than just writing, let's say now your answer could be easy. Let's say they are into agri, paddy, milling. Customers are, say, sole proprietors, and the product could be, say, term loans, leasing, STL or pledge loan, and the security could be stocks, personal guarantees, lands, like that. You understand? So when you have a diagram like this, here it's for the paddy. Let's say if the customers are into, say, government executives, private executive, into housing, yes, similar thing you can develop like this. When you have this, then it's easy to write, say, 4 or 5 lines about the product. So the lines could be about type of activity, what the business activity that you can do, 1, 2, 3, 4, and what type of customers that you are going to discuss, and then what type of products and what are the securities. Then the final could be, let's say you are going to select STS or pledge loan into sole proprietors who are engaged in milling the paddy sector. So that is the product that you are going to take through. Then we think about what are the risks, or let's say we talk about sole proprietors. What could be the risk if they are into the milling? One man, key man risk is there, right? In case of emergency, who is going to handle that? About business knowledge. So there are some particular risk, age, health, some risk in a sole proprietor. One person writing. And then how do we mitigate that? Then think about insurance. Can we get a personal insurance aside? Can we get the personal guarantee of established player to support your risk? Can you think about land or the building as a mortgage than giving a clean facility? Then we think about how to capture cash flows. Whether we can get some post-dated checks into the account. Or let's say now they are milling and they are producing the output to supplying the output to, say, Cargill, okay, so like those, say, some established players. Whether you can have a tripartite arrangement directly to a bank so that the risk is minimal. So they produce, harvest, value-added product given to LAF, Cargill, and the payment routed through your account. So you can minimize the risk that we are going to discuss here. I know first time it may not be easy, but take this down and develop your thoughts through this type of approach. Because suddenly then the examiner asks a kind of a question. If you have done this for several sectors, you can say this is agri. You can think about the housing into government or the private sector. You can think about the contractors in a particular sector. So like that. So you can develop that sort of thing before going to the exam. Even the examiner asks about, say, write a short note on POD. Now the POD, what are the inherent risks? Where we are going to give the POD, who are the customers in general, how we are going to mitigate the risk, what are the type of security we can think about in the case when we offer in a POD. So everything could be a starting point here. So this is the module number 2 that I want to discuss with you. Right? Any questions? Any questions? Is it clear? Is it, you need a further clearance, further justification? Yeah, any question? Somebody has asked. Yeah, Tarindu, it's great. What about others? Malki, Malaka, Dilanja, you are with me? No gray areas? Okay, thanks, Oshini. Thanks, Malaka. Okay, Malki. Right, let's move on. Right, this is number 2. Right, then number 3, sometimes they might ask to write short notes on products. Short note. They might ask a kind of some short note or maybe a brief description of a given product. It could be POD, it could be a pledge loan, it could be a bank guarantee line. So we will discuss some of the questions bit later. So if it is so, then you need to know what exactly you are going to write it, rather than just like writing the pages. Essay type, para type won't support your answer, because they specifically ask write point form answer. So better you write say 1, 2, 3, 4. So what are these? The first one could be a definition, or maybe types, or maybe features. Maybe the first 2 lines could be about, say, when you say what is POD example, what's the main feature of the POD, or what could be the type of the OD, temporary overdraft, casual overdraft, permanent overdraft, like that. So it could be 1 line, or it could be maybe 2 lines also, because if you give a definition as say 1, and say maybe 2 could be features depending on the content. So then you have 3, 4, 5, right? So definition and main features, the types. A third could be advantages and disadvantages. Each product have some advantages or disadvantages. If you take OD, what's the advantage? In total. If you are planning to give OD to a customer, what is the advantage? There may be advantage to customer, advantage to bank. I mean, so many things you can write. So say advantage to the bank, what could be the advantage you have? If you are a credit officer, if you are a bank manager, when you approve overdraft facility to a customer, what's the advantage? How easy to operate that? Will it be very difficult to operate? Operationally, what do you think? Offering OD is easy or difficult as a bank? It's easy, right? Because you approve, you mark a limit, and you are reviewing after 1 year. So not a big hassle, right? The customer can write checks, deposit money, right? So very easy. Nothing to worry like that. But if you approve a pledge loan, post-dated check discounting, factoring, STL, it's not easy, because there may be a lot of operational work during the period. Taking checks, check clearance, sent to head office, and verification of the checks, the STL, STL request, or maybe follow-up visits, hard disbursements. I mean, operationally, very easy. That's the advantage of overdraft. So what's the disadvantage of the overdraft? Disadvantage. Any thoughts? What is the disadvantage? Karindu, any idea? If you offer OD to a customer, what's the disadvantage you are having? Karindu, issue with my speaker because I can't hear you. Maybe some issue here. Any other can give us a disadvantage? Palaka, Alki? when you offer OD to a customer, what could be the Nilanjan? What's the disadvantage like? Do you have a control over it? Can you do end use of funds? Is it possible? No, right? When you offer OD, customer can use it for any purpose, right? Because you have given it, right? But if it's a yeah, spot on, you have given, yeah, we cannot find the end use because it may be risky sometimes, like especially like in a downturn, right? It's a risky, but it's a STL, it's a pledge, import loan, back-in credit. You have better control. If you know something happened, you can stop the line, you can reduce the line. But OD, very difficult to monitor. Another disadvantage. Then also you can write risk and mitigants also. Not each and every product have a risk and mitigants, but at least if you have this structure, then you are trying to find answers for each which is different to each other, so that you can get maximum marks at the examination. Because otherwise, if you are trying to write same thing repetitive, then examiner might not give the full marks. And you can get 3 out of 5, but you can't get 5 out of 5. But better you have developed a kind of structure answer plan for each question that he can pose us. Right here, definition, features, advantages, disadvantages, risk and mitigants. Risk could be something where you are unable to say control, monitor, ensure the end use. Could be a risk. How are we going to mitigate that? So you might have some conditions like submitting post-data checks, having a sinking fund, so have continuous turnover condition, or maybe having a collateral, or maybe cash margin, some mitigants. Right? Finally, could be some example and illustrations. Means that you can give a situation where customer is offered a kind of a permanent overdraft in a practical situation. Say a customer engaged in running a boutique shop, so you give a kind of a smaller working capital OD limit to finance, to manage their day-to-day expenses, to admin expenses. It's a kind of example you can give. So understand. So some you might have, some you might not have. But I want to highlight, like, if you have this type of approach, and then it's easy we can write one or two lines here. So then you have separate 5 or 4 answers. So you can get maximum for that. So keep that in mind. This is the third structure or third answer plan or third module. Right. So any questions? These are very straightforward, but I just wanted to, before setting you, let's say, exam mode, you need to be pre-prepared. So that's why we are getting so many complaints when you go to the exam and say that I have written very well, so I wrote it very well, but at the end of the day you have not got adequate marks. So that is purely a presentation issue. You have the knowledge. So sometimes you are, when you are giving the answers, yes, you are spot on, but when you are writing down the answers, may not be in the proper structure. So that's why you are able to get the full marks. This one thing is, structure and writing. Answer planning is very important. In many instances I have seen, so students are not planning the answer before writing. I mean, since that everybody is named here, if you can spare maybe 2-3 minutes to plan the answer in the exam paper itself. So it gives, a great mile to you, because examiner shows this. Let's say question number 3, you answer plan. Then you write the answer. So it means that, let's say you are writing 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the answer plan I am saying. And then you are going to write, say, 1, 2, 3, 4, because 11 to this, so this, there is answer. So this plus follows that. I advise, if you are very much comfortable, start it. But for all the questions out of 5, maybe you can do it with 2 questions. That's okay. Because if you are unable to, manage your time, don't do it. Right? If you say that since we have 4 or 5 months to go, and if you think that this will help you, yes. What I'm telling is, when you have this, let's say you are writing 1, 2, 3, now you don't have any point to write risk and mitigants. You keep it open and you go for some other question and come back and you can write, because you know exactly, I haven't written something to risk and mitigants. I haven't written something advantages and disadvantages. This is the way that you need to plan it, and you can get maximum marks. Take my words, because generally when I train development financing students with me, I mean last sessions up to, because we haven't had two like exam sessions, but I didn't hear any students who got failed, right? The pass marks are so much great, like we get like even maybe 1995 also, like excellent passes also. I mean everybody is getting through. That is not a kind of different things we are doing like other sort of lecturers. Only thing is you work as a plan, because these notes, whatever past papers and all that, so it's readily available. I mean no need to go through and discuss here, there, and I mean past papers continuously. You can select, let's say 3-4 questions and have your plan and work on that. And then you also, like, if it's a POD, how I'm going to write. It's a short-term loan, how I'm going to write. It's a print, what I'm going to write. So you do practice at home. And then this is good for any other purpose also. Like the previous one, we did a product development. Say in practical scenario, your manager might ask, why not Karindu? We need to develop a kind of product, maybe regionally. Head office has instructed. Then what's your plan? So you go to the previous one. Sector, subsector, customers, products, securities. So then you have some idea. Before you doing the kind of market research, you know exactly this is what I'm going to plan. Then you need to know what the market research, whether there is an adequate portfolio that we can capture, what's the like profitability, what's my marketing tools, what are the terms and conditions, whether I'm getting like insurance sort of thing. So then you think about next stage, because this is a starting point. Very good. When you are like putting this, and when you are speaking to your higher authorities, then they know that you have done with some sense, rather than just get something and write it and give it. That doesn't work, because here you start with fundamental, the kind of the model that I have discussed with you. Fine, is the third one, right? Then I think I have discussed last time also SME and microfinancing. Then again, you need to have two macro modules you're comfortable with, and before going to the exam, you need to see whether you have thorough with all areas, because I have done a presentation, I have given you a kind of reading material, so you have everything in both. So what you have to do is, so you have to read it, and you have to have, say, 1 A4 page for microfinancing and SME. So I will give you a kind of a high level area that you need to cover, and see whether you have done with those things before going to the exam. So then whatever question so far has given us is included, can be answered using these two areas if you have prepared. Right? This is SME that we need to discuss. So first one, you need to know about definition, because sometimes it's in the past papers also. Are we going to define SME? Maybe MCQs, maybe law questions also. One. Number 2, importance. Why SMEs are important to country, economy, or maybe in a kind of a society? So that type of a question the examiner could give us. Obviously that we have answers for this. Then sectors. 1, 2, 3. So we have discussed agri, services, manufacturing, subsectors also, because that we need to know. Sectors. What are the sectors where the SMEs are involved? Here the imports could be about GDP, employment growth, and all that. Remember that we discussed 6-7 items. This one here. Maybe 4 items you need to know, right? 4 to 5. Then products. This play a bigger role because we see a lot of sub questions under these products. The products, I think I have given you a kind of a note and select at least 12 to 15 products, memorize by heart based on the previous module. So then you are done with that. So the products, you can have your own version. It could be something like on balance sheet or balance sheet. I think for this I have shown you kind of diagram, right? I will give it again, right? Because it's if it is say on balance sheet or balance sheet, you can see this, right? And then develop this kind of a grid. Here you have corporate banking, and then you have SME or and retail banking. Just have your own version. Retail is something for individual type of customers. SME is something where not individuals but higher end, small medium enterprises. Corporate is transaction and higher mid corporate line. Then you have on balance sheet products for all and off balance sheet here. So put some products here and try to memorize. Right. So this would be for these products because we need in detail information on this. Right. Please raise any questions if you have, right? Because I want to share these models before attempting questions, so that would be easier. Because once you have done even the question, then you know exactly where the questions has been posed to us. Now products. Next could be sources of funding. Actually, for this we have done a separate session, right? Sources of funding. There may be internal, external, long-term, short-term institutions, and other support mechanisms. Remember, internal, external, so we learned. Organic growth, inorganic growth like this. Long-term, short-term, like short-term is more working capital like support. Long-term, term loan, debentures, preference shares like that. Institution, local and foreign organizations. Like even last year, we have seen a kind of MCQ to name some international donor organizations. Maybe you can get 2 marks like World Bank, ADB, Japanese bank like that. And the other supporting mechanisms, remember guarantees, subsidies, about refinancing lines we discussed, right? So this is basically the sources of financing to this type of customers, right? Then you need to know information requirement. What is this information requirement? Any idea? That is basically when SME type of customer visiting to you. And then you need to know what type of information is required to support the particular customer in terms of, say, lending here. Because there may be so many other things that also we can offer to SME customer. But here we talk about, lending, development financing in terms of lending. What are the information requirements and what are the sources? That's what we need to look here, right? Information requirement, it could be 3 areas. Hope you can see this, right? 1, customer, business, bank, environment. I will explain. Say a customer comes and meets you, and then he wants to take a facility, example. So then we need some information to assess the particular credit request. Customer business has to give some information. What are those? About management, about the business itself, business registration, business activity, profit and loss account, balance sheet, cash flow, and all those data has to be given by the customer to us. And then we need some information from the bank itself. Yeah, a type of sector, subsector, their performance, let's say delinquencies, NPL, provisioning, or maybe if the particular customer is already dealing with us about repayment, performance of other facilities, guarantees granted, like so. We also have some information with respect to a customer. It is new, yes, though new, but we have a sector related information of other customers, how the particular sector is performing. Or if the customer is existing customer, we do have some information about his past track record. That's what the bank is. Third one, environment, is not the customer, not the bank, but outside, like market, competition, government regulation, international impact, maybe political situation. So again, important. So based on that, so you might undertake or not the particular credit. So information requirements also important in terms of SME. That's another area. Then we have, we'll say one thing, issues and remedies. This is again important. I think I have given this not in the presentation, but in the PD material I have shared with you. So what is that? Very important. There are a couple of past paper questions. So again, when you say issues and remedies, it is good that in a module to understand, how these issues taken place, then how these issues addressed. If you know who the contributors, it would be much easier to understand issues as well as the remedies. Issues. Who created the issues? Any thoughts? Let's say SME customer, and he have ample issues because it limits him developing his business, getting facilities, expanding his activities. What are those issues? Example, absence of collateral, no transparent financials, high interest rates, say maybe no proper guidance on SME, and so many issues. But when you say issues, but it is, if you have not clustered into different stakeholder basis, may not be easy to write an answer. So good that to see whether who are the stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders? Would be customer itself, right? Again, customer if the financials are not transparent, if he's not managing the business properly, if he doesn't have the succession plan, right? Issues created by the customer. And then issues created by the bank and financial institutions. Customers. Right? What are those? No support services. So we may not, focus very much on SMEs due to less appetite. We ask collateral always. We price in a bit high. Or maybe we have not, given adequate training support like through SME centers and all that. Maybe even recovery are not so done in kind of more ethical way. So those done in the bank, financial institutions, or maybe government, or we call them regulators, also created some issues because right now we don't have a proper SME definition, SME policy, right? Recently only that SME is kind of having some more focus, but there's no a department like. You can have a ministry, I must say, because it is so much important to the economy. So we say that, but we don't have a policy making body, right? In regulatory, there may be so much things to be done. So because of that, issues has been created. When you're answering for that also, the remedial actions also could be through customer, bank, and government itself. පැහැදිලිද මම එහෙම දාන්නේ දැන් අපි මෙහෙම stakeholders අඳුරගත්තාම ඒ stakeholders තම තමයි remedies කරන්නත් ඕනේ. If you take customer itself, okay, what he has to do is he has to, let's say, formalize his business activity, has to develop a business plan, start bookkeeping at some level, then he can go and develop and make financials transparent. If you take bank, we try to insist collateral for the facilities. So now it's our responsibility to develop some non-collateralized products, cash flow based product, tripartite based product. So it's our responsibility. Then you have enough customers. You need to use smart technology and all that to track the customer recovery, collection, and all that. Government, now the policy, procedure, regulations, right? They should develop that, and they should insist banks and all that to come to the same level playing field and do it. The regulation is there. At 10% aggregate, then if we are charging so they have to come and help out these institutions also, like credit guarantee scheme, or maybe a paddy that you need to give some infrastructure support to come to a next level, value added paddy, then raw paddy, rice like that. So you can give some seed support, a different type of seeds, so that may be coming from the government. So then you can get a good harvest. Then you can target the export markets. Government initiative. So some issues can be addressed. Hope you got a SME framework. Very important. I think you need to write it down, and you also can add some more things while going on. When you attempting past papers, when you reading the papers, you also come across something relevant to SME, which could be a different subset of SMEs, and then develop this diagram. So this is one A4 page that you need to have. So before going to exam, look at, see whether I'm comfortable on this. If so, then 70% is done. Maybe another 30% could be the examiner could give something to as add into this. But you can handle it at the examination level because you are comfortable. I know SME, I know microfinancing. So my first question is like SME or microfinancing, because to that extent these questions are easy. But only thing is lack of planning might not work there. One thing is content and one thing is timing. So you need to handle both timing and effort. Content, right? Then any questions on this? Any thoughts? Any gray areas? Anything to add? All are with me? All are fine? How do you see this type of models? Will it be useful? Silent means so Malki say yes, so that's good on behalf of everybody. No, I just wanted, because anyway, it's good that thanks Saridu, but it's good that because you started something, because we are at very primitive, like early stage. So it's good that you use it like structures and models, not time into the development financing. Whatever the subject you do, then very easy. Then your stress level is going to negative, right? When exams are there, I know that we have to do a lot of other works like day-to-day works and personal things and all that. But when you have this type of thing, maybe you have 3, 4, or 5 pages like type of diagrams, so very easy, and then exactly where I am missing. Like when you use this, I'm not exactly sure with other support mechanisms in SME. You just go to the tute and not see what are the other credit guarantees, aids, refinancing, SME center, central bank, like so. So you are comfortable. So that is the way forward, because whenever you do even MBA, So this would be very much easy. You know, planning is, I mean, the very key. Once you do this, then you have the answers coming your way. Right? Okay. Then last one. Microfinancing. Again, I have discussed with you, Tute. I have given you a reading material, sorry, presentation and reading material. So that has everything. Again, I just, kind of a refresher. I will, share the kind of a model. So you can, tally with that and then you can proceed. Then you have a definition. Okay. Because we discussed about a slide last week, a definition. What is micro? What is financing? What do you mean by the, kind of micro, and what do the financing? And then you all have objectives and target market. What is the objectives of microfinancing? We talk about sustainability, empower, and create. It's like that. And what's the target market? The people who below the poverty line, especially into the women who have skills but they don't have capital like that. So this will be useful. And then they ask about products. Remember, microfinancing is not only lending; it's microcredit, micro savings, remittances, plus other services. Again, not only the products and plus other services also will come into the finance function. Then we talk about essential elements. Essential elements in microfinancing. When we are discussing about models, we talk about grouping, savings habit, inculcating their non-financial activities, empowering of women, because they are essential elements in microfinance. Like SME, we discuss something. So microfinancing itself, like Grameen model and all that, because the origin is based is some basics. So that is also there in the past papers also there. But again, my tutors also supports that. Then models. We discuss 4 models, but there are ample other models also. When you go like class 3 for past papers, you will be able to find out several other models also. But remember, you need to know at least 4 models, because in exam that you are supposed to get 5 marks, so at least you write 4 models with some descriptions. Then you have to talk about challenges, and then you talk about before that, institutions. The people, the organizations involved in microfinancing business, about banks, non-financial organizations, NGOs, INGOs, cooperative societies, money lenders. Remember, so there are institutions also. There may be some questions has been asked under that. And then challenges. So, challenges in microfinancing and issues. Issues faced by the micro, like high interest rates, unethical recovery practices, right? And banks are not very much willing to do microfinancing with the low risk appetite issues, right? So these are issues, and then you have remedies also. Last one, MF Act. Because here again we have several questions. What is Act? What are the main functions? What are the activities permitted by the Microfinancing Act? So there are many questions to cover that. So basically, definition, objective and target market, products, essential elements, models, institutions, challenges, issues and remedies, Microfinancing Act and its functions. So this is basically all about microfinancing. I mean, I just wanted to share this. Basically, when you refer PowerPoint and notes, I have given everything, especially in the notes. I have given it like, under 14 sections, so everything has been covered. In addition, I think I have spoken about microfinancing in Sri Lanka, right? Because in some past papers, we have seen that, write a short note on microfinancing in Sri Lanka. So that again, maybe a combination of that, because I haven't given here, could be coming on the definition, but some past papers, yeah, we have seen that. Because this is very not very difficult, because this is just like I have repeated what I have learned and I have repeated, because this is the fourth one that we have I kind of answer plan today. Because then once we done the past papers, when we move forward with other areas, we'll tell you what are the other models that we need to have. For the time being, actually we have done only SME and introduction to the credit and development financing and microfinancing. And the SME, we discussed about SME banking plus sources of financing. Those what we have done. And for that, actually, these four structures could be useful. So my advice is, yes, this is the start, so you can develop it. So once we do the past papers, now you can think about what are the other areas that you need to amalgamate here, or deletion. What is the new thing to come? It's totally to you. I just want to share this because you develop it, and then if possible, we can share with rest of the members also. We can have a kind of, the whatever, use a kind of a group, WhatsApp group or whatever, so you can share your work so that others get benefited. If you think that, this is a new area that it could be a possible examination content, you are basically supposed to introduce it. That may be, because when you are doing it, you know exactly, what could be next examiner target. When you do the past papers, you also can get an idea. So that's it. And then we move to the past paper questions. If you don't have any questions on this. Right. Hope that so whatever we discussed is okay with you. And if you do have any questions, even right now or while we are attempting the questions, that you can ask any questions and give your feedback. Right. Now, having said that, what I have done here is I have selected couple of questions, presuming that it's a kind of relevance to what we have done. And there may be a number of other questions also that we can do it once total sessions are over. In the meantime, that you also that I think I have shared almost all the sort of past papers in the group we have done in the WhatsApp. So who have not joined that, let me know so that I can share it again, because I have shared whatever all the past papers, and then you can refer it and there were the questions and answers. And the other thing is, now not like in a physical class that we don't have an opportunity to give a question and you attempting. So later discussing, because here straight away that we go with whatever the questions and answers, we discuss it, and we as a team, so we will add value to particular questions where other than the suggested answers, what we can give it to better the answer, right? So I am taking this question that I think everybody can see this. So in the black you can see the question, and the red we have seen the answer. So the question is, most SMEs managed by entrepreneurs without basic financial reporting and assessment process in terms of relevant accounting standards. So that is one of the issues. So it could be straight away think about SME is having issue is created by entrepreneur itself. As a result, many SMEs tend to become bankrupt due to poor financial management. So the result issue could be a bankruptcy in a very shorter period. So what is meant by the bankruptcy? What are the major reasons that could lead to bankruptcy of enterprise? So now here, it could be something, a new exam point is introduced here. Bankruptcy, because we have not learned it in anywhere else under SME, or maybe it could be learned at the SIG businesses later. But once you do the syllabus, yes, you understand. But here he has brought that concepts in session 10 into session 2. So that's what I'm telling. In overall, yes, you need to have better knowledge. So bankruptcy we need to define, and then major reasons. So now let's think. Now, if this question comes to you, and how do you see first place? Is it a difficult one or it's a easy one? Before see the answer, what are your thoughts? Bankruptcy, let's say we anyhow we know it after doing session 10. We know that bankruptcy, we know the bankruptcy definition, right? Now it's a like outcome of some of the issues that we just discussed here in the question itself and some other. So now you have been asked to give issues, reasons. A question nikka, how do you think? It's a difficult or it's easy? Or if it is so, how we are going to answer that? Can we think about the structure? කොහොමද ඔයගොල්ලෝ හිතන්නේ මේ වගේ ප්‍රශ්නයක් ආවොත්, will it be difficult or will it be easy? First place, are you going to attempt in this question? How do you think? Dilanjan, what do you think? Are you going to attempt this type of question? Api assume karma you have done the session 10 and you are masters of now project financing. So what do you think? Oshani, Malki, what do you think? It's a question that you are going to take on or you are drop? Any thoughts? Malaka, what do you think? Yeah, Ocean, you have mentioned yes. In the meantime, yes, in the sense you are taking, right? We are attempting, right? Not the dropping. But basically, if you see this question, yes, first place, you see, because I haven't learned about bankruptcy, bit, and then about asking issues. So bit difficult on the face of it. But see the question. So underline examiner mentioning poor planning, and then lack of transparency, and no idea on financial preparations like that. And then itself, it gives a clue for us. Like we think about SME issues කියලා ගත්තොත් issues නෙවෙයි මෙතන වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. Issues තමයි created problems. Ultimately, it went up to the bankruptcy. So if we are thinking in that way, answer, we know it. And that's what I'm telling you. So go to the simplest platform and see SME. We know for sure issues faced due to himself, due to bank, and due to environment. And obviously issue with the market, competition, government regulations, bankruptcy can happen. Now, simple example is his government is not so supportive at SME. SME Act we don't have. Right? Recovery Act we don't have. So any bank go to the Parate, debt recovery gihilla, we can push the customer to wall and get the things done. No protection at all. Like a government issue. That's a bankruptcy. Very easy call. If you think about like countries like Thailand and all that, now not easy to go to the legal action. Very hard. Not less than 2% they go legal action against the borrowers. It's like crime if they go for the legal action. That's what their attitude is. Now, we can go to legal action. So you can't do that. You should be business supporting. The absence of act, that is regulator. The ekat issue competition, international changes, I mean business changes, dynamic changes, issue. So if you're thinking in that way, obviously you have an answer. Then come into inside. But the entrepreneur is not going to do. It could be management issue, it could be marketing issue, it could be about structural issue, it could be employee relationship issue. A hamekakma could be a reason for this. So if you have done like a structure earlier, then you know, right, exactly, you are in a good wicket. Then you need to fine tune and align with the bankruptcy. Bankruptcy is something that, you know, you can't make adequate income to service the debt, service the stakeholders. Then you say you are lost. External issues, internal issues, everything. So external, it could be created by government, regulators, banks, financial institutions, or even the environment, like market and all that competition. Internal, customer itself, about management, operations, marketing, and like that. Then obviously you have some answers. If we think in that direction, I think, you know, every question could be attempted. Then that's what recent past what we have seen is now examination not, you know, give straight away direct questions, but he can't, you know, indirectly he put the question, but the core he cannot change. Issues faced by SME is, you know, until we sorted it out, it's given. So if you know the issues faced by the SME, and then I had a better answer. Now see the answer. Bankruptcy, legal status of an entity that cannot repay debts it owes to creditors or its outstanding debts. That's how the bankruptcy. It's a legal term. Practically say the customer, the business is not generating adequate income to service its debts and other creditors. Then you are bankrupt. That's a definition. So you can get 1 point for that. And then you write 3 or 4 another points, get the rest of 4 points. You can get the 5 marks. So reasons, market condition. Second, financing problems. Third, poor planning, management, other factors. Market, poor condition in overall economy and the specific market in which a business operates are common causes for bankruptcy. So bankruptcy in other words, sick, bad performance. How it could happen is because overall market is not happening. Overall economy is not happening. No economic growth. No GDP growth as expected. Like recent past what we are experiencing. So that's a market condition. It could be about competition. Maybe another extension here. Right? Financing. The financing problem, one of the primary challenges small businesses face. Many business owners take out loans to help finance their operations. In business struggles, lender may not be willing to grant additional funding, which could lead to bankruptcy. The financing problem, here it basically talks about the regular lenders that they are talking about. Also, you can think about and give another point, when the customers are in difficulty, their primary bankers are not supporting, then they go to whom? They go to money lenders at a higher rate. Obviously, they demand first before, traditional bankers demand their dues. So that itself will put into trouble. That's a financing challenge. Here, financing problem is one thing is sourcing, two is servicing. Because when you are in trouble, bank may not give further and further extension, advances, restructures. Sometimes they say, no, we can't. So there is a property, then we try to auction like that. That's, the banker's attitude. I mean, not everybody, but it's a general. But as I was telling, if you are in like some other country, you can't, think about, auctioning first. So there may be, difficult to proceed that in the recovery process. So you need to support, rehabilitate the business. So then you are with the customer, and you do additional funding, setting up and changing terms and condition, finding another supporting partner. So many things you do to rehabilitate the business. In financing problem, here he talk about sourcing and servicing with the traditional partners, and also you can add money lenders role here. When they are difficult, they go to the money lenders at a higher rate, which again put them into problem. Third one, poor planning, decision making. Lack of planning and level heading can lead to hasty decisions and business failure, because we talk about SMEs, right? They don't have a very good management structure, management hierarchy. Maybe one person taking all decisions, very quick, hasty, that sometimes doesn't work well with the business. So that issue may have created to bankruptcy in the business. Fourth one, management, because there may be disagreement about the partners. If it's a company, again, though the namesake, there is a company, but the directors are taking decisions, but there may be disagreements. They're not sophisticated enough. They're not professional enough to take a kind of the call, taking into all the decision making points. So very emotional decisions sometimes they might take. So with that, there may be collapse of businesses. Last one, some other factors that contribute to bankruptcy include poor business location, loss of key employees, competitors, personal issues like illness, so unforeseen disasters, criminal activities like floods, storms, fire, theft, fraud, hardships that lead to bankruptcy. Remember, now here we have a very good answer, right? Now if it comes again, so then now we have to think about, right now they talk about sick business. Yes, we have a different model. When come to the session 10, I will again give a model like this, but don't wait that. Here, some of the issues, SMEs, that issue, the outcome could be bankruptcy. So that could be again due to customer, due to bank, due to outside like government or regulatory organizations. But what here missing could be maybe regulator perspective, right? There may be no adequate adequate support for the customer's end. Let's say the customer is in trouble. Now he doesn't have like the parliament or ombudsman you have, but nobody, many people doesn't know where to go and redress my, appeal other than courts. Courts is not the answer, right? So when you go to courts, like it's something they based on facts. But when you go to some other place, like if there is any, place where you can argue about a business case, right, with a bank, like, so there may be some solutions. A business support systems, it's not available in Sri Lanka. That's, you can't, maybe bank or a customer can do it. It should be coming a different way. Maybe there may be SME Act, there may be government SME department, maybe supporting recovery initiatives, like those things also missing. So that might also gives the particular businesses to bankruptcy. So think on that line. So there may be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In other factors, you have some more, so you can expand it and write it. So in terms of this, there may be 7 or 8 points you can have it for a bankruptcy. So next time when you have a kind of similar questions, now we have a kind of answer. But remember, this is not new. You need this because when you talk about SME issues, some of SME issues they face day-to-day basis. Ultimate result could be a bankruptcy. A previous question could be issues faced by the SMEs, right? Couple of issues and remedial actions. That may be the question he posed 2-3 years back. Now he has rephrased the question saying bankruptcy is the outcome of these issues, one of the outcomes and reasons. You have the answer. Fine. Any questions? Hope you are comfortable with that kind of a situation. Yes, initially you might have some kind of issue, not very much confident in providing the answer, but I think right now you are in a good position so that since that once you collaborate, coordinate different inputs, you are in a good position to answer that type of question. Right? Any feedback? Any difficult areas? Any clarifying points? If not, we can move to the second part. Dilanja, are you okay? Malaka? Malki, I think you are fine with that. Oshani? Rajindan? 5 of you.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So let's move. Thanks, Dilanja. Go to the second one. Briefly explain how SME could benefit from cash flow statement. Right. Now here, you may not be exactly, give a kind of very complete answer because we haven't discussed about cash flow statement. But since it is anyway a part of a question, we will discuss it and proceed. Now, when we go to the next part, so after we discuss break-even, working capital, and then we discuss the financial statement and ratio, which is a 2-day full sessions. And once you know it, then it could be easy to understand. Easy to write a question like this. But since that the question is here, so we will go through and I explain. Prime objective of preparing the cash flow is to ascertain the reasons and the changes in cash position of a business, while it also provides information in relation to receipts and payment of cash. Cash flow statement helps in managing a business efficiently. It enables to evaluate the cash position and financial policies of a business effectively. At the same time, it helps to undertake financial operations of a business in an appropriate manner. A statement of cash flows will present cash flows of a reporting period classified by operating, investing, financing activity. Cash flow statement is distinct from the income statement and balance sheet because it doesn't include amount of future incoming and outgoing cash that has been recorded on the credit. Now there are 4 points. What is very important points here is number 4, because P&L balance sheets are, or income statement and balance sheet is basically they give some data, and it's a report where in a position or the performance. Balance sheet, it gives a position on a particular day. P&L gives the performance. But both statement doesn't give exact cash flow of a business. Why the cash flow is important? Because SME predominantly they have to service day-to-day working capital, investment and financing activities. So when you say financing activities, they involve with banks. Investment activities again involved with bank. Operation activity they involve with debtors and creditors. So they have to manage these 3 stakeholders or areas. For that, they need to know how much money in their hand. So cash flow, in that sense, it's important to see whether how much I have pure cash to service my 3 areas. That's what they under point number 3 say reporting period, operating, investing, financing activity. Yes, that is fine. And also we need to know how much we need to have to support to service operating, investing and financing activities. That is the additional comment that you can put under point 3. And the point 4, yes, it's basically there is difference between the income and the balance sheet. And because they talk about does not include the amount future and outgoing cash that has been recorded on the credit, because it totally talk about today's cash position, present level of cash, because that is vital to run the day-to-day businesses, right? Those 3 and 4 points are the very important out of these 4. The other 2 is basically it just describe what is cash flow statement, right? Now this is again to get the 5 marks, that it's not difficult. This is just a kind of a repeat of cash flow statement definitions. Once you do that under section 7, so this is not a difficult question to answer, because though that we haven't done it, but since it's a part of this question, I just explain it and proceed. Hope that you don't have an issue, but if again let me know. The next one also part of the financial statements, but since that we are generally familiar with that, so we will again proceed. What are the major items that could appear in financial position statement, that is balance sheet? If a bank loan is given, how will the statement change? So that's what, because it's a practical point that the examiner introduced us. In a balance sheet, what you have is, you have asset, you have current liabilities, you have long-term liabilities, you have equity. Those are the 4 things, right? Asset, basically you have current assets or long-term assets, and you have intangible assets. But here they have mentioned current and non-current. Current is basically, cash, trade, inventories, prepayments, investments, cash in bank are the current assets. 1. Non-current assets are land, building, plant, equipment, heavy machinery, like that. Intangible assets are goodwill and so on and so forth. So basically, you can say asset, current assets, fixed assets, intangible assets, 3 items. Liabilities, you have current liabilities, non-current liabilities. Current liability, trade, current tax liability, and provision, and rent payable, like those things. Non-current is basically a long-term bank loan and lease outstanding, deferred tax liability are non-current liabilities. Equity, share capital, retained earnings. So those things, because that is anyway we'll be learning under that section 7. But if not, you are in a position to answer what are the asset, liability, and equity, because it's a part of the financial position statement. Right. Then what happens is, when bank loan is given, say semi-customer taking a bank loan. So what could be the scenario? Now here, a bank loan, if it is a long-term loan, what happened? There may be a bank loan under non-current liability. Under current assets, it is cash. So it's better you mention about, long-term loan under non-current liability. It's a short-term loan where we are going to record that, because the examiner under suggested it has not been mentioned here. If it is short-term, where to go? Under which? Rajinder, if it is short-term loan, we are going to record that. Because especially SME, they look for working capital facilities also, other than to capex, right? Yeah, current liability. Thanks, Oshani. Yeah, it goes to current liability. So then here they mention about long-term liability, and better you also mention it's a long-term loan, a non-current liability, and the short-term loan, it's a current liability, and both occasion it's recorded under cash in the other side, right? So that's what the additional point that you can bring. I think it's very much clear. Now see, when you are like, in a kind of that mood, so easily you can get that, 5 marks. Once you written this, for sure, So you have scored the 5 marks, not like, mathematical or quantitative type questions. Right? The fourth one, importance of preparation of the financial performance statement, that is a P&L of an SME. How will the statement help banks in making decision for lending to SME? So basically now this is actually coupled with section 7 and section 2. Right now, we can't expect every time, SME related questions separately, financial related questions separately, because since that, examiner has given those questions some time back, now he is like to try to couple it and with some application. The financial performance statements, that's a straightforward. And then the rest is where, if we are going to lend as a banker, then how the P&L will help you. Then you need to think about a bit, like what the P&L, what it gives us, right? What's the like ratios that it gives you. I know, bear with me because we need to do the session 7, but think aloud, because now, just like you can't, give a kind of answer for the part 2, it's a practical part the examiner is asking us, right? So basically, if you take first para, performance is assessed by the given summary of how the business incurs its revenue and expenses, right? Both operating and non-operating. It also shows the net profit or loss incurred over specific accounting period. Important accounting document is the statement of financial performance, also simply called the income statement. In much mention, it's a P&L or a financial kind of a performance or income statement, right? That's one. And basically it covers operating and non-operating activities, and also it gives gross profit, operating profit and net profits. And also it provides, additionally we can say year on year, it gives whether, the turnover has been changed, expenses has been changed, and profits has been changed, so that trend can be understood. That point you can include here, because additionally, then performance statement, in a given year, in absolute perspective, it is nothing, right? You agree with me? Let's say the customer comes and tell, so, my turnover is 2 billion. It's 2 billion company. So it's good, but absolutely, when you say 2 billion company, you have some questions. 2 billion. So what was the last year? What was the previous year? And A 4 billion, 3 billion, 2 billion, it's a deterioration. So it's not a very good performance. Then you might think about, right, so you are a company in this sector. So what about your competitors' performance? So you are say 2 billion, but rest industry average is 4 billion, 5 billion. Market leader is doing 20 billion. So in that sense, 2 billion is nothing. 20 billion to 2 billion. But vice versa. Say rest is lying below 1 billion and you are 2 billion. Yes, you have done well. So year on year, you need to know what is happening, and you need to know what with the industry like. So that is also important when you are talking about financial performance or the position statement in comparatively. Here we can mention, because it's not mentioned here, we can see a trend analysis. Year-on-year performance using this financial performance statement. That is the value addition you can add here. In addition, what is mentioned about turnover, about GP, NP, OP, trend. 1. Number 2 could be in addition to operating, non-operating, in addition to specific accounting period profit and loss. In addition, you can talk about changes of turnover, changes of expenses also could be opined. Because why? Because changes in expenses is very important. How they manage the interest, finance expenses, how they manage the other overheads, very important decision, right? So I mean to say that is important in terms of P&L. That's a part 1. Any questions? Any thoughts that you can add here? Any thoughts that you think P&L is important in terms of SME, not the part 2, for the part 1? Malki, Dilanja, anything that you think you can add here? Oshani, anything that you can add other than 3 or 4 points mentioned. P&L important. We talk about items. We talk about trends. We talk about operating, non-operating. Yeah, we talk about profit or loss. There are 4 items already discussed. I think you can mention 2 or 3, that would fine, because yeah, 2 answers are coming, and even write 2 points, distinct points, you can get the marks, but 3 points would be much better, right? Since that it has been tested. If it is coming again, yes, try as much as points. And now your homework could be, now though that we are yet to come, a P&L, balance sheet, cash flow, right? So you need to describe it under 4 different points. When we learn the section 7, that be much facilitated, right? Then we go to the part 2. If you don't have anything to clear on the part 1. Income statement is important for banks because it shows the profitability of a company during the time interval specified in its heading. The period of time that the statement covers is chosen by the business and can vary. This is intended to be a simple and practical tool to be adjusted and used by SME working in all sectors. So general answer, but I'm not happy with the answer. Basically, how will the statement help making decisions for lending to SME? Now, what we have to mention here other than this is, now, sorry, again, bear with me, because now you may not be readily available with that answer, because once you know and you understand in detail about P&L under section 7, you will be able to answer this, because in a P&L, we are in a position to generate several ratios. The first one could be profitability ratio, that is about GP, NP, OP. That's one. So when you calculate the profitability ratio, that gives you an understanding how profitable the firm is. That's the absolute perspective, and also in comparatively as well. As I was telling earlier, when you compare year on year, when you are comparing with the industry, you can say how the profitable the particular business is. That is one that we need to mention other than these 4 lines. Number 2 could be, we also need to understand how the company has served its financial commitments. ඒක හොයා ගන්න පුළුවන් interest component and finance charges කියලා එකක් තියෙනවා. So that's a financial expenses. Because if you see that the interest component has coming down, finance expenses has coming down, I mean comparatively, I mean say like turnover to expenses. You need to, I mean just you can't say 10 million this year, 8 million, that's good. But again, you compare with the turnover, because if the turnover also coming down, the 8 million could be high, absolute. But if the turnover goes up and finance expenses coming down, mean you have managed the financial expenses well. That could be repricing, negotiate with the bank, and reduction in pricing, or you may settle some high debts where you go for some creditor financing. So like that, you can do many things to manage the financing in a firm. Which is another point. How well you manage the company finances. That could be checked in terms of finance expenses and interest expenses. Third could be, in many organizations, SME, you may not have dividend payouts and all that, but at least there may be tax component. So whether you have done properly manage the tax of the company, because anyway you need to pay the tax to the regulator, Inland Revenue, and then you need to manage that also, because it's a good point when you see the customer, even SME, paying tax without any problem, or paying EPF, ETF, and no issue with the employees. So it's a good indication how he manages the business. That is also you can, get an idea about, making decisions for lending SMEs. When you say SME, important because people who run the business, managers, owners, their credibility is with this: paying taxes, paying EFTF, paying on time divs with the bank. So that will say there are very good managers. Creditworthiness would be checked. So like that, you can add 1 or 2 points in addition what the examiner mentioned here. Now, always when you see the suggested answers, don't expect, everything given here is adequate to get the 5 marks, because this is suggested, and you can always think and add some more points to better the answer when it comes to the next time. So what I am telling is, when you see this, when a similar question comes next time, students, now they're ready with adequate additional points. So try to make this as a platform so that the base is there, and add 1 or 2 points so that you have a better answer for the next time, so you can get maximum marks for the next question or the next time if they ask. I presume, because this is something very new paper, recent paper I have taken now, and this is the way that examiner is trying to rate us. Basically, he tried to bring 2 or 3 syllabus areas together and with some applications also here. So going by this question, I must say this is not easy question. This is also not difficult question, but average, subject to how best our homeworks are, preparations are. Right? Since I think once you do this, you know that this is not very difficult, because I can say this is not difficult because everything we have discussed. A sick business and all that, we give some bankruptcy, financial statements under section 7, part of that, and SME also we have done that. So all syllabus points are here. So data information here, only thing is you need to manage it and do your max, because you need to get at least 16 to 17 points out of 20 for this type of a question. Because this is type of a question that you can start it as a first question for the paper, SME or microfinancing, not the MCQ, not the quantitative questions. I will tell later also, because when you are trying to understand attempting MCQ question, because remember, each question carries 2 marks. And when you see maybe the first instant, if you have a doubt, you have still keep on trying, because at the start, remember, you are not at a very good wicket, not very much comfortable, right? Because bit of stress at the initial stages of the exam. So then 2 marks within a minute or so that you are trying to get, there may be highly likelihood that you miss 1 or 2 points, because that lose 2, 3, 6 like marks. So then it's a tricky, right? So keep it some time. And again, coming to like NPV, IRR, working capital, and break even, again bit of quantitative mathematical numbers are there. Not very much comfortable. For the first question, I'm telling, if you start it, sometimes you never know how much time I took, 45 minutes, even 1 hour. So then you think about, no, I have to do 4 questions, 2 hours to go, 30 minutes I have to finish, so you're under pressure. So, don't attempt that also. Then take like SME, micro type of questions as first question. Then you know for sure how much I have to write. Going by the question, I'm comfortable, I have done this, previous questions also I have referred, so you start with microfinance. So once you do a microfinance questions, also you can see, not difficult, because the other point is, then වැරදුනත් අපි දන්නේ නැහැ ඒක වැරදුනා කියලා, right? Then ගානක් වර්ධින chance එක ඔයාලට තේරෙනවා, so you're under pressure. මේක වැරදිනවා කියලා දන්නේ when results come out. So you have time, at least 3 hours. It was a joke, but I'm saying mentally, so it is beneficial to you. So start with this type of a question, but in order to do that, you need to be well prepared. You can do that because you have ammunition, you have enough materials. Start it, have your models developed, and write these type of question twice, thrice, as many times as you can. That's another piece of advice. Don't look at the answer and see that you can. No, look at the answer, look at the question, and close it and write your answer. Point 1, 2, 3, 4, and like that. Then you know how you're writing, how your presentation, whether you are happy with your answer, and see whether if you are the examiner, am I to give 4 marks, 2 marks, 3 marks, 5 marks? Then you know your writing style, right? So that's how a bit of tips that I just want to share it. So that's all about the 4 questions. I don't see any issue here. SME, bit of coupled with some other sectors also. And then you also can, work on this question and similar question in the past papers, and then see whether, so how comfortable. If you do have any issues, so we can take it up once we have done all sessions. Again, we are planning to do some more questions again in the relevant areas, right? Since we have time, so we move to the question number 2. Here he asked about type of credits and write short notes. Banks have a number of conventional credit products designed to facilitate requirements of business customers, and these products can be modified to credit package to facilitate SMEs. Briefly outline and explain the usefulness of each of the following credit products for SME credit package. Now, remember, now we know a model, a structure to write a short note on product. That's one. So you have prepared. For OD, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then, when you go to this question, it's a briefly outline. So that outline is we know now. 1, 2, 3, 4 in a summarized form, that is outline. And the part 2 explain the usefulness of each. That is again something that you need to, you know it, but you know it in a different format, different structure, but you need to bring it as examiner request. නැත්තම් ඔයා outline එක ලියලා explain කරන්න ගියොත් explain කරන්න කරුණු නැති වෙනවා. Right? Now same thing he's asking a different format. So now then think about advantages, disadvantages, risk mitigants, features, type of ODs, and kind of illustrations. Then ඒ ටික වගේ ඔළුවේ මැවිලා තියෙනවා. And then you try to answer the way the examiner asks. A bit of 2-3 lines about definition, that's an outline. A definition is basically, you can say outline number 1. And then the rest could be something where how useful. That is the advantages and disadvantages type. Here is asking. That's a usefulness. Right? Also that you can bring the other factors also, like PODs like this, TODs like this. For quick use, it's a casual OD. And bit of end use can't be controlled. Instead that we have it like, so you bring those things also here, but to support his requirement. That is the tactic we have to use here. Because නැත්තම් plain vanilla product එක I have seen that when I am marking papers. Yes, I've seen students just say examiner මොනවා ඇහුවත් එයාට ඕනද එයා ලියනවා. That's generally most of our students does. ඒක කරන්න එපා, because yes, you can get 2-3 marks. Why you stop at 2-3 marks? Obviously, you can get 5 marks because you know it, and only the presentation is now differ here. Examiner Hanade, try to make it as more comfortable to the examiner. The you don't need to give it, but since that he's asking outline and explain, at least you have to say this is like brief outline, and this is what the benefit. Then we know that he has understood. She has understood the question. There may be para type OD type of answer. So then very difficult to give, because we are supposed to give marks for 0.4. It should be in line with the question. So no examiner could go out of way and give the marks. So it's very pity when you come back and say I have written well and then I haven't enough got the marks. So I expected a distinction, but I ended up with the credit. Credit would be okay, but why you stop at credit when you can get the distinction? So think about those small areas, right? Here, OD, line of credit, customers can borrow, repay when needed, paying interest only on outstanding, business flexibility, borrow, pay back throughout the year, throughout the limit, instead of a fixed lump sum every month. So see, so many features has been introduced here. So this is again for, let's say, when you're in a short note for OD, couple of points: line of credit, borrow and repay at any time, interest only for the outstanding, and review that every year. No need to pay bulk amounts, right? So like a term loan, like a short term, so need not to pay. So these are some, the features, a definition. And අපි ඉගෙන ගත්ත එකේ line එකම තමයි, this is a brief outline. It's a definition that he is asking. Done. Then benefits: flexibility, no settlement fee, customers keep a track record, business opportunity, reinvest back into the business. So some kind of a different points in a different way he has presented. Flexibility, readily available, allowing customers to draw down funds when they need it, only paying interest on what they use. Customer can make repayments at any time, giving them complete control over the facility. Then now see, the same thing he has mentioned here also under different point. You're getting my point? Because when you describe a OD, I mean, you can't write, I mean, more than 5-6 points, no. Whatever you tried it, it's maximum you can write. But now examiner has given us option to use whatever in different presentation. Now it's a usefulness he is asking. So usefulness is basically, one is the flexibility. How the flexibility? Anytime use, only pay interest, anytime you can draw, no bulk payments, right? Better control over my cash flows. So that's a flexibility. No settlement fee. Customers are not charged to pay their OD in full. Now, you are not supposed to pay it at once, right? So you can share partial, or you can operate limit within limit even throughout the period. In case of emergency and issue only that you are demanding. That is again when you are defaulting sort of thing. So other than that, no issue. Help customers to keep a track record. OD, owners to maintain a good payment history, minimizing the risk of direct debit or check bouncing. That's again because now when you have a limit, you are comfortable. You can write a check. You know that the check is not going to return, right? Then the creditors, they know when I issue a check, so get readily settled, readily credited, because I have a limit. I'm comfortable. So otherwise, I have writing a check, go call a bank manager and say, honor the check, I'll pay the money. So bit of, you are uneasy. OD gives business opportunity to reinvest back into the business. What it means is, now, not like a term loan. You have a business, you purchase something, you sell it, and you get the money, reinvest. Because OD, continuously you can operate, right? So these are things really spoken about advantages. Now remember, in our model, we talk about definition, we talk about features, we talk about advantages, disadvantages, we talk about risk mitigant, we talk about illustration, like, so we learned it differently, some points. But here, he mainly asked about the definition, features, advantages. So take that and have your answer. There will be another question. They might say, OD, working capital, critically evaluate the product while minimizing the risk attached to that offering. Then you need to think about disadvantage. Then you need to think about risk mitigants. Then you need to think about features which harmful, like no control, no end use, the bank is in a difficult position if we don't have collateral, right? So some of those things also can bring into the question. Hope you are getting a kind of a concept, because I wanted to think about a fresh, new thinking, because yes, we know the base, we know the model, we know the product, but the examiner is asking, it's a different version, different perspective. So otherwise what happened is, because we very much happy with what we learned and we went by the books or the what the lecturer told and taught, and so you go and so you give the answer, you come back. I mean, don't do it, because here it is you are taking the risk, and the benefit is with you also. One, yes, you need to pass the exam. I must say, since that you are committing with me about 6 months or so, then you need to end up with distinction. Especially development financing paper, you have to score more than 75. I mean, I can readily say that you can. I mean, when you do 2, 3, 4 past papers, and once you done with whatever the syllabus, then it is very easy. Only thing is your preparations. Don't wait for the last moment. That's why I wanted to discuss some of the questions also. Now you know exactly what is required from you. When you go to the 11th or 12th session, when come back to the SME, clueless. Now you know what SME, what micro, what's sources of financing, what's the introduction, and what the question examiner has asked, how he has coupled with those things, what is his expectation, what we know, and how should I use my model structures and all that. That's simple. I think you can do it, and you need to do that also. Fine. Any thoughts, questions, value additions on this part before we are planning to wind it up for today? And any thoughts, any sort of areas that you need to clear? Right. By the way, what do you think whether I have another paper also here that again we need to complete 2 or 3 products, 2 or 3 areas. So what do you think, whether we will continue with the next week in the similar questions, or can you manage it with the type of answers and questions I have given? Based on your suggestions, I can do either options. I can continue another week about some more questions, and then we can start break even, or if not, I can straight away start break even next week. Give option to you to go through and get it familiarized. What do you think? Dilanja, Malaka, Malki, Oshani. Only 4 of you left with me. 2 others has left. Malki, you say continue. What about others? Malaka, Oshani, Dilanja, will we continue next week also, and then we move to the... Do you think that you get a kind of value addition while we undertaking questions? Because the structures I wanted to share with you, obviously, I know for sure that we'll have some value there, and then the questions are part of the structures. Then also maybe since that we are not in a physical class, so only thing is we have to discuss the question with 1 or 2 value addition from my point, my way. So what do you suggest, rest? Dilanja, Oshani, and Malaka. Okay. So Malaka is either way. And Dilanja and Oshani, can I go to the break even, or can we do the past papers? Because it's all with you. Some issue with the right. What we'll do is like because let's see, next week we have leasing, refinance, factoring. I think you are in a position to do these. The other one, microfinancing, also there. What we'll do is we will do some selected, because there are 6-7 questions. I will take maybe 2 questions in detail next week about microfinancing and the some kind of SME product, so that you can get an idea the way that examiner wanted, and then following week we will move to the break even, right? So anyway, I am happy the way that we discuss about the initial structures. That is the most important part I want to share with you. Rest is actually, I know that you can manage, but anyway, we'll take another week and see how best we go through. I will anyway be ready with the break even as well. If halfway through, if you all are comfortable with the past papers, then we will switch to the break even, because I mean the time is also important. I assure you that we will do whatever the past paper questions later when we have done everything. But since that you have an idea about what is expected from you on attempting the past papers, then I am fine, because you have your own structures, models, then attempt these questions. And then when you are trying to do those things, if you do have any questions, yes, we can discuss. Right. Having said that, thank you very much for being with me for today. So let's meet next week, same time. So have you a great week ahead and safe time. Thank you again.